about straining for that logo on the side of your helmet and not the name on your back?
Yes, sir.
Because we know what it represents. It represents everybody here you see and everybody you can't that we've talked about. I'm here to strain with you, men. I swear to God, I'm here to strain with you. Let's go. Everything you got, strain with everything you got. Let's go. Bills on 3. 1, 2, 3. Bills.
You're listening to the Off Tackle with John Fina show with your host, Joe Miller. Well, what is going on, everybody? Welcome Bills Mafia into the Off Tackle with John Fina show, brought to you by the Market Dominator team on the Buffalo Rumblings Vidcast Network, presented by Picasso's Pizza. Treat yourself to the most flavorful pizza on game day. Picasso's, we are Buffalo Pizza, shipping local and nationwide. Order online at picassospizza.net. I'm the host of this here Off Tackle with John Fina show. My name is Joe Miller. You can find me on Twitter, Joe Miller Wired, and sitting right beside me is the star of the show, the one, the only, John Fina. John, how are you this thing?
Well, I'm recovering from a cold or a flu or something. So I figure the best way to recover from an illness is to have a cocktail. So I can't not when I'm on with you. And it's sort of drown your sorrows.
I'm drinking water.
Bills, you're drinking water. Wow, times are desperate. Holy cow. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
We've hit rock bottom. Mid-season rock bottom. Joe's on water.
Joe's on the wagon. Joe's on the water wagon.
Get the AED off the wall. Save Joe's life. Pump it. Get the bourbon IV, for God's sakes.
Exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in and joining us. For all of you in the comments section, who's over here? So Jay Spencer King is in the room. Antonio Myers in the room. Karen Idzik, Richard Rush, my guy Mark Johnson.
Ryan Bowers, Daniel Garris.
Reese. Yep.
Amic's in there.
Yep, Tracy Fictor's in here, a whole bunch of people. So Jimmy Key, I haven't met Jimmy. I don't think I've seen Jimmy Key yet. So Jimmy, welcome to the show. Brian Bowers, Double B, is in the room. So good to have.
Speaking of names and pronunciations, I want to start the show with a level set. Okay, you all right with that?
Miller, you pronounce it Miller, not me yet.
It is pronounced Ryan Bates. And I have it on the highest authority that it is Ryan Bates, not Rick Bates.
Okay, so do you know where that came from?
Yes, from his mother. She told me never to call him Rick again, or she'd take my knees out in the middle of the Bill store. You know what it's like to see a grown man cry? Because I was afraid. I said, all right, Mrs. Bates. And, of course, you think Norman Bates, Mrs. Bates, and I start to shudder a little bit. So, and then she starts loading my basket with more Bills gear. I leave with this hat, which I love.
Gorgeous. That hat's gorgeous. You need to fill in the holes. What is the context? First of all, you're in the Buffalo Bills store. She's in the Buffalo Bills store. You guys are shopping for, and I don't know the store. You guys are shopping for Buffalo Bills stuff, right? Swag.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Does she you don't recognize her? She recognizes you.
She didn't recognize me, but I was thusly recognized and taking pictures with fans and having a good old time. And she came over and introduced herself. Lovely woman. And I said, oh, you're Rick Bates' mom. And she
there it is. Okay.
Yeah, she kind of grabbed me by the wrist and she said, listen here, sonny boy. So I said, well, look, it's not my fault. It was Joe Miller. He's been saying Rick Bates forever. Here's his phone number. Here's his email address. I gave you your home address. Did you get a visit?
We say Ryan Rick Bates, and we say that because Josh Allen, during the COVID year, when everything was on video, he was doing his video interview. And after it was over, he said, I think Ryan Rick Bates is up next. And then he got up and Ryan Bates sat down. So ever since then, there's been this debate. There's been this belief that somehow, even though his name is Ryan Bates, everybody in the building calls him Rick. I don't know where that came from. We probably should have asked Joel. Joel probably knows why Josh calls him Rick. But
well, I'm not doing it anymore. I'll tell you that. Mrs. Bates she gave me the finger wag, the whole thing.
That's hysterical. That's funny. Well, everybody, welcome into the show, the Off Tech with John Fina show. We are Super Chat Live. Please like and subscribe, whatever platform you are listening to this or tuning in to this show on. If you are on YouTube specifically, jump on that like button. Hit that like button, get our metrics up. We would greatly appreciate it. If you're on Twitter, if you're perusing Twitter while you're listening to us, retweet this. Let people know that you're in the comment section or you're watching this with us. But yeah, I'm not. I'm not well, John. I'm super annoyed. So I guess we could just probably start there. I'm super annoyed. How are you feeling about that football game yesterday?
Thanks, Karen.
Now I'm Karen because
I'm kidding. Thank you, Karen. Yes, I picked up these nice new flags in the Bill store. Karen was in the comments. She noticed. So thank you for noticing, Karen. I'm very happy with them. I kind of had to jerry rig them up there, but yeah, I'm annoyed as well. Fortunately for me, I was really sick today, so I slept through most of the day. So I wasn't waking annoyed. I was in the arms of Morpheus annoyed.
Yeah,
I'd wake up, scream an expletive, think about a bad pass, and then go back to sleep. And I'm on like 46 separate holistic medications to get rid of this. So now we're going to go back to the time-honored way, which is alcohol.
Alcohol for sure. I don't even know where. I mean, we're obviously gonna go through the obvious steps that we normally go through as a
my God, it sounds like we're going through like recovery together. We're gonna go through the steps.
I'm just saying our typical steps for this show, the topics that we go through. But before we do that, next week, I just want to let everybody know that next week we are going to bring back the breakdown of the plays. We're going to do at least 2 per show. We're going to do it the old-fashioned way where I take a video of my computer screen, which is not ideal, but for the moment, the time being, that's the only way that we can really get away with it legally. So that's what we are going to do. And Jay Spence the King, my best friend, says, I just called 911 and I sent it for a wellness check. No way you're drinking water live on air without being held hostage.
I have the AED and I got a bourbon IV ready to go right here. Spence, you and me, it's only a 4.5 hour flight.
The only time that I really drink is like I'll have a drink is when I'm on live with you, Spence, or my own show. Other than that, I drink primarily water. Like I'm at the point now, sidebar, I'm at the point now where 49 years old, I'll look in the fridge and I'm like, a Coke sounds really good, right? Because we got Coke and Dr. Pepper and like Sprite and stuff because I've got kids. So I'll grab one. I get about 3 sips into it. I'm like, I can't do it. Like this thing is gross.
I don't drink a lot of that either. And by the way, dovetailing on what you said about going through some plays, everybody in the chat, pick a play. Send me a message on Twitter or just post it and tag me and say, hey, what about second quarter, 6 minutes in, defense on the 30 or offense on the 45? I'll go back and find it and we'll break it down. If it's decent, if it's not, I'll humiliate you on the show. I'm just kidding. I'll humiliate myself.
That's funny. Well, let's do this real quick, just because I'm late to it. Let's hear from the show sponsor, the title sponsor, the market dominator himself.
Hello, Buffalo football family. My name is John Spaschak, and I am the market dominator as well as the very proud sponsor of the John Fina Show, hosted by Joe Miller. These are some of my very good friends, and I love what they do because they bring such a high level of excellence to the show, breaking the game down, helping us as fans understand it more, and so we can engage with love and support for our Buffalo football team. Now, folks, if you're looking to engage in real estate, I'm your guy because I will bring these same qualities to the table for you to help you win in this competitive market. So whether you're selling or buying, you need to call 716-570-3298 if you want to win. Let's go, Buffalo!
John Spaschak and the market dominator team, where they educate, advocate, negotiate, and they dominate. Give John and his team a call, 716-570-3298 if you are in the market to buy or sell a home. John is our good friend, and we appreciate him greatly. Now, drum roll. Maybe not. Maybe no drum roll, please. It was a game that was.
That's it. That's my lead in. Holy cow. It was It was riddled with mistakes. It was absolutely uninspired play other than a few here and there. And they never really they never built on anything. You had a few one-offs here and there, both defensively and offensively, but they never were able to create this wellspring of fire within them and then push it on the Jets. They just didn't. And I hate the word flat, but I don't know, man. I mean, look, I always speak from the perspective of an offensive lineman, right? And right now, we don't have that guy. We had Feliciano, right, the enforcer, and then we had Spencer Brown kind of taking up that role. And now I don't feel like we have that guy. And whether they artificially create it with Ryan Bates or Saffold, I think somebody's got to be that guy. We had that guy. We had Reuben Brown. We had Jerry Ostrowski. Even Glenn Parker filled that role quite a bit. Just dogs with a W. You know what I mean? Dogs. Yeah. And I didn't see it, man.
I don't think that was the problem.
Not the problem, but that type of thing helps you build on something good.
I said at some point, I dropped a new podcast. I'm doing a new series of podcasts that are just like on my own personal RSS feed. So I either said it on the show last night or I said it on that show. Just that, football is a physical sport and it's a group of people imposing their physical will on other people. And the Bills just didn't seem interested in doing that a whole lot. From jump, like in every phase of the game, it was clear that Josh Allen we'll use the term rattled. Whether it's due to scheme, whether it's due to confusion pre-snap, confusion post-snap, whether it's due to which I think it is that guys aren't getting open. There just wasn't a whole lot in this game, including defensively. It's, I used the comment, and you have said before that you don't necessarily, I think it was you don't believe that there's a book or that there can be like a book written on how to beat teams. And Daquan Jones, Von Miller, actually not even either. They literally spoke to, they were asked questions specific about what happened in the Packers game and did they do the same thing against you guys? And they both said, yes, we thought we fixed it. We didn't. So right now there's clearly a book on how to run against this defense, which if the Bills are in a nickel 4-2, just gash them up the middle. And offensively, the big, and you slept most of the day today, so good for you. But the big thing that's been around today is you put your number one wide receiver on Gabe Davis, you bracket Stephon Diggs, and you eliminate the Bills offense. It's what the Packers did, and it's what the Jets did in that football game. And it seems like the Bills are now, and we know that, the season is an ebb and flow of trying to, you have great successes, somebody figures something out, you got to overcome it. Then you have great successes, somebody figures something out, and you overcome it.
I agree that I totally agree with that, but none of those things accounts for really the three pretty awful throws from Josh.
Agreed.
So, you gave the Jets a short field on 2 occasions, and they think they got 10 points out of it. That's a 20-10 game.
Yeah.
The defense just couldn't get off the field.
Right.
And you said gash them up the middle, which I take offense to. They gashed them everywhere. I mean, they ran to the edge as well. And, you can argue whether it's the nickel 4-2, maybe they should be in, I don't know, maybe a 3-3. That'll still keep you in nickel, but change, the angles at which your second level players can come downhill. We haven't seen anybody run a lot of 3-3 in the league for a while. It got popular in the 90s when I was there. Maybe that's a wrinkle. I can't get in Leslie Frazier's head, but I really feel like you have to make some sort of adjustment. Yep. And you said on Twitter during the game, I miss Matt Milano, and we certainly did. I don't know that in the interior we missed him, but on some of that edge play, Matt takes really, really veteran angles for tackles.
Yeah.
I think he also provides an emotional lead for that defense. There's a little bit of a void there too. I expected Ed Oliver to kind of join Von Miller and bring that up a little bit, and I don't see it. And especially when you have a really young and an experienced secondary, you got to artificially create that excitement. And going back to what I said earlier about somebody being a dog on the offense, it's also to the point where you got to drag your quarterback with you a little bit. You know, we had that guy in Kent Hull and Will Wolford, my rookie year, who would pull Jim aside, and Jim had bad games.
Sure.
You know, Josh Allen is not the Messiah every game. Hopefully for many, many more he will be. But, you know, it also alleviates the pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah.
You know, if you can go over there and carry that burden with him, I mean, you're in the ministry, right? We had to help carry each other's burden. And somebody's got to figure out a way to right Josh Allen. Because I just painfully rewatched the second half.
Oof.
And it wasn't just the throws. He vacated the pocket in instances where he should not have, where all he had to do was step up and either throw it away or step up and throw it.
Yeah.
So he hurt us. And look, it's fair to say, I mean, everybody hurts us from time to time.
Sure.
He hurt us in those opportunities where he could have dumped the ball. Still, you know, 6-2. The problem with a team like the Jets is they think they're really, really good or great when they're not. They're just okay. They're a good team, but you gave them life, and there are good football players on that team.
Oh yeah, Quentin Williams, great.
Yeah, and they just, you know, it was a snowball going down the slope.
Yep. Buffalo Freddy asked the question, did Josh somehow literally not see the defender on the first pick? So yes, that's what Josh said. Josh said as he was rolling to his right, the right tackle, Quesenberry, and the defensive end were kind of shading so he could see Dawson. Thought Dawson was by himself and could not literally see the linebacker behind him, which is effectively what happened in that situation. So that first pick. The second pick, I don't know that we've gotten an answer.
They won't give us an answer.
Yeah, like he threw it between Stephon Diggs and Khalil Shakir, who was coming across the middle. And I mean, both of them were kind of looking like, who was that to?
And then in the fourth quarter, he just threw it to nobody. It was almost a pick.
Yeah,
you know, Khalil Shakir was wide open. We'll have the first down.
Yep.
And look, you know, and I could say whatever I want about Josh Allen. My guarantee to everybody is he is well harder on himself over this than I could ever be.
Oh yeah.
And you know, frankly, going back to what you said earlier about, you know, you bracket Diggs with CB2 and help, and then you put CB1 on our wide receiver 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just, you know, that I think that's a temporary solution for defenses, and we get through that kind of thing if we're doing the other things well.
Yeah,
and we just weren't.
Yeah.
And
John Spazcheck says, "Preach it, brother." So
yeah. Well, look, I don't want to dog them out too hard. We are 6-2. Take away the short fields. I think we win this game. The defense has to get off the field, give Josh more opportunities. He has to be the master of his own mental state,
right,
and be able to revert in the absence of many, many drives. I think he had, 4 in the first half and maybe 5 if you include the last one in the fourth quarter. That's not a lot of drives. And if you're not playing poorly, you got to get your Zen moment or chant with the Gregorian monks and right yourself.
Yeah, it just wasn't great all the way around. And before we transition into the good, which will be a probably rather short segment, why don't you give us the House Capitol read real quick?
Oh, well, that wasn't much of a lead, so I got to get my both reading glasses.
Sorry.
And yeah, you're fired. Hey, when you're looking to buy a house, everybody's got a guy. You might need work done on your roof. Your buddy's got a guy. You need an inspection. I know someone. And when you're looking to get your financing together, make no mistake, Brian Belser from House Capital Corporation could be your guy. They help make the mortgage process simple, hassle-free, and understandable. At House Capital, their preferred relationships with some of the top lenders give you the edge up in getting the financing you need. Take it to the house with House Capital. Brian Belser, House Capital. I met him, partied with him, super nice guy. Call him up if you have a need, please.
Yeah, Brian's a good dude. He actually has done 2 mortgages for me. So yeah, it's a little bit of what's the word? I don't know.
It's not really nepotism. I mean, he's a friend.
He's a friend, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, helping each other out a little bit. So
That's
the good in this football game. Well, Josh Allen hit Stephon Diggs on one pass early in the first series where he put a double move on Sauce Gardner, and then Josh Allen had a couple rushing touchdowns. Outside of that, DeMar Hamlin had a sack. Von Miller played pretty well. That about I said last night on the show, Reed Ferguson snapped the ball well.
We all but one punt was pretty good, right? And I think Bass missed the 55-yarder. I'll give him a pass on the Bass miss, right?
Yeah, it was weird. There was no wind, and the ball still, you could see it kind of like was moving all over the place as it was kind of going through. Where do you go? So you played football. Jerry Ostrowski's in the chat in the comment section. He's obviously played with you on the Buffalo Bills. Where do you go when you and I've talked in the past for the couple of years that we've done this about times that I remember the Bills in the 90s being crazy dominant and going into Arrowhead and getting throttled or getting waxed by the Steelers. And you've commented before, the Steelers always seem to have the Bills number back then. Where do you go after a game like that? The Jaguars game last year. Like what's the attitude in the locker room right now?
Well, hopefully it's the same attitude that we had. We got a little chippy with one another. There was a little bit of the hierarchy of your veteran teammates saying, step it up. Right. And it wasn't a blame game thing, but it was definitely get your what's to meetings on time, make sure you're checking every box, get into your playbook. If you made mental errors, woe to the people that made mental errors on a Monday after a loss when you should have won. I mean, you'll get eviscerated. And again, I go back to what we talked about last week where I thought it was a freebie. I thought we had a little wake-up call. I think Josh with a poor performance in the second half, would have righted himself around. I think, there's got to be on the offensive side of the ball. I really think the offensive line has to gel, have a conversation, and make sure that practice is absolutely perfect. On the defensive side of the ball, I think obviously they got a scheme. They got to have confidence in the scheme, but they also need to stay loose. Right. You can't be too tight. But there is definitely, they're putting their reading glasses on right now. Yeah. They might watch a little extra film right now. Not that they, it's so hard. You look at a game like yesterday, and you want to just, as a fan, I was just so miserably angry because it was just so uneventful, and you just kept waiting. They were just doing stuff to us, and we weren't doing anything to them. So I think there's also a portion of that is, get hungry, get mean, get nasty. There was a play in the game, and Jerry will love this one. There was a play in the game. We were on offense, and I think it was Tim Settle was one-on-one with the guard, and the center came over and absolutely buried Settle. And then Zach Wilson scrambled for 13 yards. We had a similar play on our side of the ball where our guard put a hand up for the center, glanced at the tackle, stood there, didn't get more depth, and it hurt us. Had he had the same mentality as the Jets offensive lineman and buried that particular D lineman on that particular play, Josh Allen might still be running. Yeah. And it's that kind of stuff. It's like you cannot take a play off. And when I say it's not just effort, it's technique. It's knowing where you're supposed to be. If a receiver is supposed to run a 10-yard out and he runs it at 12 or he runs it at 8, that's taking a play off. The details matter. Right. So your depth in pass protection on a slide matters, right? When you're a running back and you are supposed to hit the inside hip of the tackle and you don't, that's taking a play off. So it's that everybody's got to look at that performance. And if and we did it that way, every single snap. And I hope that those coaches are hitting that rewind button. And literally, it's old school, man. It's like, hey, man, you happy with that? Are you happy with that block? Are you happy with that performance? Or if you're a receiver and you drop the ball and they run it back, could you have caught that? Do you think you could have caught that? A lot of people can't live like that.
Just put you right on the spot.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, because the camera, the eye in the sky is watching. Where
well, we got if I could read this, we got Minnesota, right? They're 7-1.
7-1, yeah, and they look good.
They look good. I looked at their schedule. I'm not terribly impressed with who they played, but
Kirk Cousins can throw accurate passes. Justin Jefferson is their wide receiver. It should have been an interesting and fun matchup, between, Stephon Diggs, who the Vikings traded to us, and they used, I believe, our pick to get Justin Jefferson. So there's kind of some history there. And that game is turning into more of a, we don't know what to expect from our football team. And oh, by the way, our quarterback might be injured and who knows if he's going to play or not. Before we get to that, Buffalo Freddy asked the question, or I should say he hashtag where's Dawson Knox. From what you've been watching, we've talked about it a couple times on this show. What the hell is going on? You pay him $14 million a year. The expectation when you pay somebody $14 million a year as a tight end is not for him to be a blocker. And I don't know that it's a situation where he's blocking. Is Josh not looking for him? Is he not getting open? Like, what have you paid attention at all?
Well, he's not a great blocker, I'll tell you that.
Okay, fair. So he did not make the money to block, is what you're telling me.
If we were going to pay somebody $14 million to block, we would have kept, was it OJ? I'm sorry, I can't remember.
OJ Howard, yeah.
OJ Howard.
Or Lee Smith.
Hey, that goes back to game planning, right? I'll go back and watch. Is he not getting open? But I don't disagree with that. And we have got to figure out a way to get guys open in the middle of the field a little bit more when we need it. I mean, it killed me that we went downfield on a 3rd and 12 down the left sideline. Those are just lower percentage passes.
Right.
And I think that's the opportunity for a guy like Knox to go in and get into that seam area, standing at 7 or 8, doing an option, moving your way away from the coverage. I don't know. It's a good question.
Yeah.
He has been absent though.
I made the not mistake, but I went there yesterday on the Overreaction post-game show, and I just said I felt like the Buffalo Bills were missing that Cole Beasley player, that guy that was always open 2-3 yards over the middle. It was just Josh's outlet, his safety valve, his safety blanket, if you will. I guess the question that I want to ask you is, what does that role? Because Josh's, what's the word, acumen, his arrow up began to really rise when that role entered this offense. When Cole Beasley entered this offense and he had that safety blanket over the middle, it seemed to open up everybody behind him as well. Is that an accurate statement? Is that piece missing? Because it seems like they're trying to do that. Like, we'll give you a safety blanket, but it's going to be to the right and the left.
Yeah, well, it's supposed to be Khalil Shakur right now, right? Sorry.
He was only on the field 9 times yesterday.
Well, it's either him or McKenzie. I mean,
that experiment isn't going well either, I don't think.
Well, I'm pretty sure Cole Beasley is available.
That ship has sailed.
I don't know why. I think he's a great football player.
Well, because he made a comment on Twitter the other day that he's happy that he's not in Buffalo. So yes, somebody basically clapped at him and said, "Hey, I'm glad you're not in Buffalo." He was like, "Yeah, me too."
Well, I don't know. I mean, I could be convinced to come back, and it wouldn't even take $14 million
to be a bad blocker.
Look, Dawson Knox needs to be that guy, I guess. And look, they do it with Kelsey in Kansas City.
Yeah.
I mean, he catches a ball, between the hash and the tackle at 8 yards all the time, falls down for 3 more, first down.
Right.
I'm okay with Dorsey. I think he's all right. I think we're going down the rabbit hole a little, not a lot, a little, If your quarterback throws 2 interceptions and gives up great field position and then misses on a couple of other throws, you're going to have a hard time winning. And that happens.
Yeah, but it's hard for me to place, as we've clearly transitioned into the work, because as I told everybody, the good wasn't going to be a very long segment. It's hard.
I don't think the offensive line was terrible. I don't think they were great. I don't know how good they were, and I don't think the running game was awful either.
Well,
I thought it was okay.
They're all inflated by numbers from the guy that you're kind of.
No, I don't watch. I don't watch that. I watch the individual plays.
It's hard for me to pin this on, the quarterback who didn't have a great game. There's an aspect of it being a team sport, right? So there's times that Josh Allen is going to take over a game and he's going to win a game for you, much like he did the Ravens game. And then there's times that the defense should probably pick up your quarterback, maybe just a little bit. The Buffalo Bills left their number one defense out there for a punt. I don't remember if it was in the first half or the second half. It was kind of important. And I sat there in front of the television yelling, they're going to fake it. And the Bills do that too, because their defense was still on the field and they converted. Right?
Oh, let me to that by reading defensive players who play opposite of the long snapper are also not allowed to initiate contact with the long snapper until 1 second after the ball has been snapped. These rules were created to protect the long snapper as they are in a compromised position with their head usually up their hiney. All right, it didn't say that. But I looked at that. I went back and looked at that play and I was like, well, that's kind of an unfair advantage because, you could really be inside on the guards. So how do you stop? They shouldn't be allowed to run the fake punt sneak up the middle. That's a hard one to stop, especially given that rule.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I mean, that sucked, but that wasn't the downfall of the game.
I didn't say that was the downfall.
No, I know you didn't. And I never put words in your mouth.
I feel like the defense needs to, it was a position where they had an opportunity to pick Josh up. And I'll be honest with you, there was a time I felt it was a very pivotal point in the game when Von Miller had that strip sack. I was like, that's it. Like now that the offense is going to come out, we're going to get going. And they didn't. Right. But I mean, you look at the special teams. Not only did Bass have a missed field goal, but he also kicked the ball out of bounds, which is something that to me is inexcusable for a kicker in the NFL, especially one that's as good as Tyler Bass. Yeah. Now, it also did not hurt us. The Jets went 3 and out right after that. So, but when you look at where the cookie crumbles in this football game for me is literally the second half, especially the third quarter. And then you look at the fourth quarter, that last drive for the Jets, there's 7 minutes left on the clock, 7.5 minutes. I don't even know. And I'm thinking to myself, we get them off the field. Yep. Josh can go down and score. Or if they go down and score, Josh can, hold them to a field goal. Josh can go down and score. Zach Wilson didn't throw the ball once.
Not
once. And they went 80 yards. And you know what the Bills were in? A nickel 4-2. And the camera was like burning holes through the side of Leslie Frazier's head as he's just standing there. It's borderline arrogance. Like, I'm just going to leave my guys out there without Matt Milano, right? So the new guy, Terrell Bernard, who's not Matt Milano, continually getting gashed. As much as it's fun to blame the quarterback and say he could have played better, I don't know that anybody on that football team played well, again, except for maybe Reed Ferguson. Go ahead.
Kudos to Reed Ferguson. You get the player of the week. Dude.
Right.
I love where you're going with that. And as a guy who's been on the field, who's played, and Jerry O, please attest to this as everybody's bashing our offensive line in the comment section.
I don't see that.
And unless you have ample time to prepare a 7-man front during the practice week, you are not going to just take the next linebacker and throw him out there and say, hey, you go to Sam, you go to Mike, you go to Will, all the secondary, it changes a lot. And if you're not repping it, and I'm not disagreeing with you.
They do. Tyrell Dodson has played in a 4-3 on this defense this year. It's happened this year. It happened in the Tennessee game.
I completely understand what you're saying, but it's a function of repping it and having it as part of the game plan.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying if they didn't, I'd like to know, frankly. I mean, Frazier never texts me anymore after I sent him that picture of my feet.
Oh my God.
I'd like to know, was it available? Was it part of the package this week? And if he says, no, Fina, it wasn't, then it wasn't. But if it's ready and you ain't using it and you're getting run on, then I have a problem with that.
I just don't. You're not talking about a schematically completely like complete wholesale change. This isn't going from the 4-3 to the 3-4. This isn't going from the 4-2 to the 3-4. You're literally trotting Terrell Dotson out there.
No, you're
right?
not.
And you're taking Taron Johnson off the field.
You change coverages, you change leverage because you have a different player at the 5 spot. He's a bigger guy, he's not the littler guy. It changes things.
But there's an aspect when you think about this Bills defense schematically, what they do on defense and offense. On offense, they're going to beat you with the one thing that they don't feel that you can stop, right? So they're going to expose your weakness. On defense, they're going to shut down the thing you do best. And it looked like we're going to shut down Zach Wilson, who played an awful football game the week before. Like, Zach Wilson is not a guy, if you're shutting anything down for the Jets, you're shutting down the run game, right? I mean, Michael Carter, James Robinson, I mean, they've got a decent run game. They're not bad. Their quarterback is awful. Hey, make that guy beat us. And they didn't.
Again, I'm not going to agree with you. I'm not going to disagree with you.
Right.
I would have preferred that game plan, but I don't call the shots.
For sure.
I mean, I think it was a miss, and I agree with you. I think their running backs are better than you give them credit for, but Zach Wilson certainly isn't better than Zach Wilson.
Yeah, no, the Bills, to your point about Josh Allen getting over to that side, for me agreeing with you, the Bills probably should have pulled something out of that book a little bit and had him, getting the ball out a little bit quicker. It was funny because they moved to a rhythm. They moved to an up-tempo offense in the second quarter and then found some success with it and then abandoned it shortly thereafter. It was just, the whole game was just weird. And somebody in the comments section,
it was
somebody in the comment section, I think Rory said, listening to all the different shows and opinions, is it possible that everyone just had a slightly subpar game and there really isn't any major issues other than injuries? And I think that's what you said, right? They came out flat.
No, I don't agree with Rory.
Oh, okay.
I agree with him in part, only because I like him. He's a great guy. Everyone did have a subpar game, but the issues to fix is like, what we're talking about right now. Do you go with a 7-man front, or are you going to try and stop the run with a 6-man front? And we're not doing it.
Right.
So make a decision. Leslie Frazier is going to have to go in and look at his personnel, and it might be an easy decision this week with the amount of injuries that we have in the secondary. We brought Kyer Elam back in when he left the game because of an ankle tweak.
Yeah, because Dane Jackson got hurt.
Right.
Yep, for sure.
Yikes.
Yeah, when you think about injuries, get ready. When you think about injuries, I mean, there's an aspect of it. It seems like that the grill is on, and that they're just they're barbecuing our guys over there, right? I mean, so.
Well, look, I
didn't pick up the hint on that one.
Yeah, I did. It was subpar all the way around, but in order to do that, I actually have to leaf through. My man Iman did not send me a read, so I had to ask him for it. So here we go. I told him something dour, like a funeral mass or a requiem.
Jeez.
After returning from an incredible Sunday tailgate at Bill's Helmet Bar, way up in Keswick, Ontario, like most Bills fans, Q42 has spent Monday studying classic inspirational quotes from Marv and listening to that one and only Chumbawamba song. We're all down, Bills Mafia, but because Q42 has been so distracted by the loss, that 30% discount still stands. Woohoo! Use the code Fina Show, all capitals. Get your 30% off. Go to Q42 Barbecue. Smash that code and get yourself some all-natural rubs and sauces crafted in Buffalo, New York. And I'm going to say this right now. I did a tailgate for the UCLA game up at ASU.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to appeal to Iman if he's listening. Do you have gallon size? Because I'm poor, tiny little. I mean, I need industrial size. My whole grill surface was covered with chicken. It was insane. And I ran out of the bottle. I was like, what? I was like that guy screaming up.
Yeah.
I was like Bill's Mafia screaming at the end of the game. No.
Yep. I got accused of old man yelling at the clouds yesterday. So that's what you were, old man
if I did that, my wife would lock the door, put the alarm on, change the keys, the whole bit.
That's funny.
Yeah,
no, Q42 stuff is good. I didn't realize we jumped to 30%. So that's like, happy day.
You took a week off.
I didn't take a week off. I was traveling, but yes. But do you know that Chumbawamba song that he's talking about?
Yeah, I do.
Whiskey drink a vodka drink.
Or get knocked down, but I'll get up again.
That's it.
They're never going to keep me down.
That is the song. I was wondering if you do that.
I'll get knocked down. That'll be great.
Wait, are they Irish or are they European or British?
They're all the same to me. I'm gonna get a letter now. From Bill's Mafia UK and the Scottish Bill's Mafia. Go back and fight it out like Braveheart.
We have derailed. Once a show.
What else have we got left, man? It was a horrible game. Uninspired.
Every
Lord.
show we have a derailed moment, and that was the moment. Fantastic.
I love it.
You gotta love it. But so getting into this football game against the Vikings coming up this weekend. The Bills have a rash of injuries. They might be more injured now than it's
5 weeks ago.
Or that we've seen in a long time. I mean, it's one thing to have a list of injuries and it's full of second team guys and stuff like that. I mean, it's big names, and Jordan Poyer is clearly out, and then you've got Matt Milano with the oblique, which you hope that they held him out for precautionary reasons. Spencer Brown is still out. Josh Allen's got this elbow thing, of which Sean McDermott was a little bit jovial in his press conference today and kind of had a smile on his face, which calmed the nerves of some Bills fans. But man, the media is speculating, and like the rumors are. I was asked no less than 5 or 6 times today in DMs what I knew. What do you know about what's going on with Josh? I was like, I haven't asked. Like literally, I'm afraid to know. Like just the idea of him not playing. Now, if he doesn't play, Case Keenum is clearly a serviceable backup, and he's got weapons on this football team. They're going to lace him up and they're going to play a football game, but this game is not going to be. This isn't a cakewalk game, right? I mean, they just got throttled by the Jets.
Throttled. It's close to a throttling. I have it a little short of a throttling, but injury wise, it's definitely a throttle. I hope Milano's okay. I tore an oblique once, and that was no fun. That was miserable. I think I missed 2 games because of an oblique, maybe 3.
Wow.
I couldn't believe it. Let's just say it was on stool softeners. No jokes to be told around me. Anything that made you suddenly flex your midsection,
right,
was like I couldn't laugh. If I sneezed, I might as well just lay down on the ground and cry. So, yeah, it's rough. And is the what about Trey White? Any news on Trey White? Or they're going to hold that out?
So he is on the active roster. He is no longer on any designated.
So we're going to go week to week.
The expectation or the idea everybody is kind of speculating is that he was with the team, obviously made the trip to New Jersey this weekend to kind of get into that rhythm. The Bills have they've got this luxury, in my opinion, of being able to hold guys out if they are a little bit tweaked or a little bit injured or whatever. And they kind of did that, in my opinion, again with Trey. Hey, we're just going to get him in the routine, get him on the plane, get him in the hotel, get him in the meetings, get him in all the stuff, because this is the first time that he's traveled with the team since he got hurt. The expectation is that he'll start getting some snaps probably this week. Now, I wouldn't put him against Justin Jefferson. That makes me a little nervous. He also, depending on what's going on with Kair Elam and what is going on with Dane Jackson, he might get forced into the lineup. He might not necessarily have a choice. But we also have Xavier Rhodes, whose hamstring is now better. The Bills have activated him to the practice squad. So they've got some depth there. They've got some talent there. They've got some ability there. But it'll be interesting to see just kind of how the Trey White situation plays out, because I don't think he's ready for a full game.
Yeah, he may not be, but we're never going to know until we throw his ass in there.
Well, it's more about wind, right? I mean, so you never missed a full season, right? So what? So you talk?
Well, I get that. I get that, but I'm certain they're doing everything they can to prepare him for that. And there's position specific types of workouts that you can do. The only thing you can't simulate extremely well is the hand fighting, probably at the DB position, down the field. I mean, they do that in practice, but it's not going to be near the level it is in a game. Similarly, when I would train in the off season, I would run plays, and take a certain amount of breaks and things like that to simulate a drive. But you can't sit unless you did it carrying a 40-pound sack and have somebody hitting you over the head with a baseball bat every 10 seconds. It really wasn't accurate. Right. But we're just going to have to learn from this, and we're going to have to work on our tackling fundamentals. I mean, that's true today, just as it ever was.
Yeah, it's going to be.
I'm kidding. I was trying to irritate somebody in our comment section.
No, I have no idea.
No, I know. And look, look, coaches have stuff they have to say. They just say it, right? Like, you can come to the podium and say, our tackling was dog doo-doo. And guess what? It was. I mean, we didn't even talk about the tackling. I kept looking at this going, holy cow. Can we get like some little fish hooks at the end of our gloves or something? This is awful. Right. And then I get, the coaches say, we're going to have to go back to the fundamentals. There's some fundamental stuff you can still do. But in agreement with what was in the chat, yeah, you kind of have to just be there by now. You're a professional defensive player, and some of these tackles you have to make. And there, I thought about this too. I saw the play again, and Epinesa had a chance for a tackle for a loss, and it wasn't like he had him wrapped up and he lost him. It was, a little bit of a dive and a grab. But man, we need to have those. Like, how can we get that? We didn't have a lot of that. Yeah. We didn't have much of it at all. And those kinds of things are what I was talking about like creating that excitement within your group. I'm next. Oh, you got yours. I'm next,
Yep.
And it just never built on itself.
Yeah, no, you almost knew that it wasn't your day. The first Josh Allen scramble where he busted out to his right, and I think it was the linebacker caught him and like got his foot and tripped him, and then Josh went down and rolled. It was just a play that I sat there on the couch going, that rarely ever happens. Does Josh get caught from behind? Like,
I actually just watched that play, and it was a design run for Josh with an outlet to. There was a single receiver in the route, but they absolutely played it beautifully. What we needed was a defensive end to suck in a little bit more, and he didn't. He came upfield, and the guy, it was a play action fake, and the secondary didn't bite at all. So had Josh even had his eyes up, he would have only been able to throw it out of bounds. And Josh, being Josh, is like, I'm going to use my sticks and just get it.
Right.
But the guy, and I thought about that play, and I'm like, Epinesa, that was your play, dude.
Yeah, it was almost like I think it was a running back that he missed, right? Or was it Zach Wilson? Like the guy had grease on his thigh pads.
It was a running back.
Yeah, just slid
to the left.
He just slid right off of him. It was unfortunate. But what are the easy things in your opinion for this team to clean up quickly? Like, 1 week isn't much time. They've got a lot of injuries. They've got great roster depth. We know that. They've got good guys on the practice squad. We really haven't seen Nyheim Hines yet. He had 2 plays. One of them, Josh threw the ball to him, and he was open. Josh just overthrew him a little bit. But what's the easiest, quickest way to make an impact as it pertains to getting better quick or righting the ship?
Well, I'll tell you, and I don't know how well they do this, and they didn't do it particularly well when I played. Make sure the players know what the philosophy is this week. Get buy-in. Get them in on board and knowing what and why and how, I guess.
Yeah.
Right? So we got to have that.
Yeah.
Now, with respect to physically, They got to do some drills in the trenches a little bit. We didn't block poorly as an offensive line, but we need to sustain a little better. And we need to give up a little less ground, and guys aren't helping one another enough.
Mhm.
Defensively, I saw some stuff from the interior guys that I didn't think was great. And I do question, and I hope that I'm wrong, that Jordan Phillips is fully recovered.
Mm.
And Pam is trying to pull her trick on you again, where she throws
No, I
a
see
super
it.
chat in at the end.
I'm just glad she got it in early.
Yeah.
Before the last 5 seconds of the show. Pam asks, hey, how are you guys doing? How are you guys doing on your wins and losses for the season? Who is winning? I believe that I had the Buffalo Bills at 7-1 at this point in the season. So I am now, I was wrong about the Dolphins game, or did I have us drop in that game? Maybe I did have us drop in that game. I can't remember. I don't even think I have my notes.
Yeah, you need to find your notes. Otherwise, it's just plausible deniability. I don't know. Yeah, I picked that game.
Yeah, I picked all of them right, and John is wrong. That's
so
correct.
John would have been 5-3 at this point. I flip-flopped. I had us losing to Green Bay and beating New York. Yeah, so I had us at 5-3, but they're 6-2.
I may have had us at 6-2. I may have had us losing to the Dolphins and the Chiefs. Does that sound familiar?
I don't know, man. Didn't we record that show? Can you go back? And I think that's your homework. You need to go back and print the little schedule thingy like I did.
Listen, Dad, you were supposed to. You've got my name on. Oh, this is Joel Allen. Never mind.
That's Joel Allen.
I was like, you could have like written it. Like you got to do something for the show besides do the fancy reads.
I know. Well, hey, we have an announcement for next week, don't we?
I don't know. Do you want to make it?
Well, he confirmed, didn't he?
Was it the 14th?
He said the 14th. Is that next week?
Well, today's the 7th, so it would be the 14th.
I don't know what day it was, buddy. I've been sleeping for like 36 hours.
I did email him back and say excited. Pencil it in. So
okay, well then I'll make the announcement.
Dum dum dum.
And it's actually really good timing because we talk about inconsistencies and people struggling, and yet we don't truly have the mindset of a quarterback. So our special guest next week, I'm so excited. The venerable, the incredible, the talented, the Oniophile, Drew Bledsoe will be our guest on the Off Tackle with John Fina show next week, a week from today.
That's
How
pretty cool.
Is that?
Yeah, that is very cool. Drew Bledsoe. So it was fun.
Weren't you supposed to download like audience cheer for that?
So yes, Drew Bledsoe will be on a show. It was fun getting to meet him at the Kelly Gala, and we almost got him to go play blackjack with us, and he stiffed us, did not show up. But you and I went and played a little bit of blackjack. But yeah,
you
fun
played.
guy.
I got my butt blackjacked. I got kicked. Somebody hit me with a blackjack stick. I got crushed.
Yeah, so Drew is going to be here, and he's going to talk to us. He's going to chat to us just about quarterbacking and Josh Allen and kind of that career arc. And I know you've already got some pointed questions for him, but he's going to be with us for most of the hour, which is fun. He's committed. He said, yeah, an hour isn't too much. So that was cool, too.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, I got 15 minutes for you.
There's
grapes.
Nobody big times the voice.
Oh, I thought you were going to say John Fina.
I'm on with Joe Miller. Damn.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I've arrived.
You're hysterical. So, yeah.
So,
yeah. Go ahead.
Not only do you do all the hard work, but I bring you to the Kelly golf tournament fundraiser thing. I mean, I'm trying to keep up my end here.
Yeah, you took me to I got to be your +1 at Joel and Levon Allen's Halloween party. That was fun.
Yep, and we got to pinky promise during the whole thing.
We did.
No, the food was great though. I enjoyed the food.
The food was good.
So what's next? All right, I'll be in full mode recovery by then without my sickness, and we'll have a victory to discuss.
I'm going to be honest with you. Somebody put this. You're probably seeing it. Ralph Wilson Sr. put this in the chat, but I know you know this guy too, and he is now. You may not have seen it. Frank Reich got fired today.
I did see that.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's a situation where that would be a great get. So if we're just having a conversation, so.
Yeah, well, I don't know that that's his first biggest thought right now is being on with The Voice.
I don't mean next week. I'm talking about at some point it would be really cool to have Frank on the show.
Yeah, and I promise you that I will have 3 more guests lined up after Drew by the end of this week.
Really nice.
Yeah.
Look at you
And
pulling
it's not going to be Frank Reich. Although I wouldn't mind having him. I just don't think it's the right time.
Oh no. I could go so many places with this, and I'm just gonna let it go. I'm literally not gonna bite. Not 100% not gonna bite. I know that Pam knows. She says she loves Frank. She also knows Steve Christie really well. So if you want to get Steve Christie on the show.
Oh, do you want to know Steve? I think I still have his phone number.
Oh, I got Steve Christie's phone number.
I don't have everybody's. I got yours.
You do have mine.
Crushing it.
I'm sorry that you got my phone number. I apologize.
So is Beth.
Let's let's end this fun. Any final words? Any final thoughts?
Rory, I told you, or Joe said earlier, bring a couple of plays for next week. We can't do all 22 just yet, but we're going to do our modified way of showing the play, and we'll do a little bit of film breakdown.
Yeah. Is that what
final thoughts?
Were you responding to that? The Rory thing, the Rory comment? Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Final thoughts from me. Ice that crap down, take some ibuprofen, get to your Zen place, rest, recover, come back out, focused, and kick the Vikings helmets off.
I like it. I don't have any final thoughts. I until we hear more on a certain player that you're saying needs to ice it down, I think I'm just going to be annoyed. So right, So I've got great hope. We talked a lot. I guess I do have a final thought. We talked before the season began that Case Keenum was a great get, and if our quarterback, if something were to happen and he was to get injured, that it was a situation where we had a guy that could win in this league at least half the games that he was probably going to play. Case Keenum can legitimately, with this offense and this defense, beat the Vikings. It's not impossible. So it's not like all hope is lost, but just, man, what an injury bug that has bit this football team. It's just unforeseeable and inexplicable, in my opinion. So, right.
We will survive.
We will survive. That's exactly right. So, ladies and gentlemen, you have been tuned into the Off Tackle with John Fina show, brought to you by the Market Dominator team on the Buffalo Rumblings Vidcast Network. Special shout out to House Capital and to Q42 Barbecue. It's all of this is presented by Picasso's Pizza. And I'm the host of this year's show. My name is Joe Miller. You can find me on Twitter at Joe Miller Wired. You can find that guy on Twitter at John Fina. If you're not following John and you're watching the show, you should be, because John is just a lot of fun. John, you were a great follow. You respond, you like people's tweets, you make jokes, you take jokes. If somebody insults you, you take it well. Like, I just appreciate who you are in that space. So can I just say that?
I appreciate that. I don't know that I consider myself that. So hearing it from you is very kind. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm a little concerned though. My DMs are just filling up with foot pics, and I don't get it.
Okay, Rex Ryan. Is Rex Ryan one of them?
Anyway,
why do we keep coming back to this? Where
I don't know.
Because
I have gotten a couple of requests for foot pics, not from Bill's Mafia people, but people that want me to be their sugar daddy or sugar mom. I'm a sugar mama, and they're like, send me pictures of your feet. I'm like, no, not happening.
Good God. I think we
delete.
Did you try at least? How much money were they offering?
You know what? It seems really like a bad idea. It's just, there's nothing good could come from that.
Feet? I don't know.
I do have handsome feet, I must say.
As a former professional athlete with handsome feet, I find that hard to believe. Don't show your feet.
I'll show them to you next time I'm in Buffalo.
Hard pass. No thanks. I'm good.
I'll let you rub them.
I don't need to see your grippers. I'm good. No, thank you. Good. Oh, ladies and gentlemen.
God.
Off Tackle with John Fina's show. I don't know why you're tuned in. Whatever. It's Joe Miller, John Fina. Go Bills.
Go Bills.